Hello, welcome to the Reloading Podcast here on the Firearms Radio Network, presented by Primary Arms. So I just saw a comment by Greg. It says, I haven't heard it on the podcast, but I finally found the reason for small pistol primers in 45 ACP. They only make lead-free primers for indoor ranges and small pistol. Yes, I blamed Winchester for that because Winchester decided to come up with a safe, cleaner round, and so they came up with the 45 small primer, and trying to accomplish that, and still didn't do it as good as they wanted. So they still aren't as good as they should be. So even those, anyway. But yeah, that's what it came around for because they're lazy and they couldn't figure out how to do it without in a large pistol. So anyway, so what's everybody up to? Jim?
He's on mute.
Jeez, you'd think his host would learn to operate his own system. Anyway, no, I didn't do anything because I had to go to the dentist yesterday. I was going to go shoot yesterday, but I didn't make it.
That sucks.
Well, I do carry all the time, but it's like, does that count?
Sure. Sharonda? What you been up to?
Filling my freezer. Mentored a lady around my age. She got a doe and a buck on the day that I mentored her. And my mentor that taught me how to pistol shoot asked me to mentor her also to go hunting for the very first time. And I mentioned filling my freezer, loading up some pistol rounds, and moving my reloading stuff out the garage in here.
Isn't that a nice feeling?
It is. It's weird having people ask me to show them how to do something. And it's weird that the stuff that I have shown them how to do, I actually knew what I was doing.
Yeah, it's nice.
And planning lady shenanigans.
Yeah. Did you pay for that shotgun yet?
I signed up for overtime.
I saw you hauling it around with you again.
Well, I mean, you know why I have it. I might as well see how it hits,
Right.
Ducks, geese.
Right? I mean, you got to test it out. To test it out.
Exactly. That way, if somebody asks me what I thought, I can give an honest opinion.
Answer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I hate that shotgun. I wrote them and told them I hate that shotgun.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Oh, man. And when I say I hate that, guys, I'm really being sarcastic as hell. I hate that they ever put it in my hands.
Uh-huh. Which I knew you would from the minute you told me you were getting it.
Can I go officially on record and say, shut up, Paul?
Just be glad he didn't put a Caesar Guarini or a Perazzi or something like that in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, please. I don't even think I have enough organs to sell on the black market. Get one of those.
We all together don't have enough organs to sell.
Yeah. And my organs aren't worth anything anyway. They probably glow in the dark.
Mine are all
What's a good Krieghoff going for?
17 to 18.
And that's if you're lucky.
Yeah.
That's starting for Krieghoff.
The last one I literally licked was $30,000.
Yeah.
That's awesome. They didn't give it to you though, did they?
No, but I wasn't looking for them to give it to me. I just wanted the satisfaction of saying, "Oh yeah, I licked the Krieghoff."
I thought you were trying to say. Go ahead, Jim.
Go ahead. All right. They probably gave you hell for putting a rusty spot on that barrel.
No, I was respectful. I licked the wood. That just sounds wrong on so many levels, but
You were saying, Mike?
I was saying, were you trying I licked it so it's mine bit?
Oh no, I knew that wasn't gonna happen.
Oh, we get you into a parazzi for 2025.
I think I'm done.
We actually had a Krieg off for $5,000 in the library once.
And you didn't pick it up.
I don't have that money. I couldn't even think of 5 people to rob to get that money. Trust me, I thought about it.
To rob Travis.
I tried to figure out a way to rob Cabela's to get that gun. And we've had one Caesar, but that was 11.
Parazzis?
None.
We
I'm
get a
pretty
few.
sure they wouldn't let me near any of them anyway. Oh yeah, that's some good stuff right there. Spotted cow, yum.
How about Ludix? You get any Ludix in?
Nope. I don't remember. We got something right now. It's about $4,000. Comes with a couple barrels, adjustable height, rail or not rail, but rib.
Piece. Yeah. Oh, rib?
Adjustable, yeah, adjustable height rib.
Okay.
I don't remember what the brand is though. I just remember putting it away the other night. And somebody asked, "Why the hell do you put that on a gun?" I said, "For shooting trap."
Yeah.
What did you say in your head though? There's your outer voice and your inner voice.
Oh, my inner voice says. My inner voice says, "Really? That's silly." I mean, I guess if we got the money, sure. I don't shoot trap competitively, so when I did, I was using a Remington 870 with a modified choke, and my personal best was 423 in a row. Not all in the same day. Now I can't shoot anywhere near that now because I haven't really shot trap in any sort of serious manner in like 10 years. But, I mean.
Hey, you do like me, one straight.
Yep. So, the thing is with shotguns, especially, and I mean especially with shotguns, you see a lot of fancy tips and tricks on them. Either because A, the person can shoot them and is just trying to make their life easier. Or B, somebody saw somebody else shooting well with that on it and figured, well, if they're shooting that well with it, I can shoot that well with it, and I've got money to burn. And so they put it on there, and guess what? They spend $7, $8, $10, $15, $25, $30,000 on shotgun, and they still can't hit the broadside of a barn if they were standing inside it.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Paul's had many a days laughing at that.
You can't spend enough money to make yourself a good shooter. There's only one way to make yourself a good shooter, and that's practice.
I don't know. If you could buy an Abrams tank, you might be able to.
We're not talking about destruction. We're talking about fine shooting.
In shotguns, there is a thing that having the gun fit to you.
Yeah,
if
there is.
you don't have the gun fit to you, you're not going to be anywhere near of a good shooter. But
it takes a lot more effort.
You get a gun that's fit, and then you can start putting the practice in to make it work. I mean, a tri-stock is depending upon where you're getting it from Ludic, we're $350. Tri-stock from Parazzi is about $1,000. Browning makes them with tri-stocks. You can buy a BT99 with a tri-stock on it. Then you get somebody that's knowledgeable enough to fit it. So you're looking down the barrel the right way, and trying to teach people that is the hardest part that you have to do. spend the money, get the gun fitted, put a tri-stock on it, spend, get somebody to line it up, get your eye behind the stock the right way and behind the receiver. Then you can start doing good. Then it's worth the 500 clays, the shells a week then.
Nick, what you been up to?
Not a whole lot. Out of work a lot over the last week. Did pick up some stuff though. Picked up 30 pieces of primed HXP 303 brass for a really good deal. It's actually a Neil. I just looked at that. Knows that today.
Nice.
80 pieces of 6.5 Swede brass primed.
Nice.
And also a RCBS die that somebody took and made a 270 and up to about 45 caliber universal decapping die. So
Nice.
that's about it.
How about you, Paul?
Finished up the inside of the reloading room, except for my heating unit and waiting for that to be delivered. Taking off tomorrow back to Illinois to start loading up the equipment now, and spend a few days with my youngest daughter, and then come back and start mounting everything in here.
Nice. Travis?
Well, after Paul convinced us all we need to clean our barrels, I cleaned out my really nice BSF barrel, my carbon sleeved barrel. And since it was clean, I thought I better make up some loads and go out and shoot some rounds through it and make sure zero hadn't really changed. And when I went out to the range at 25 yards, I was getting like a 6-inch group. So I thought, well, I just need to get it a little fouled up a little bit. So I stayed out there for quite a while, and I shot probably over 200 rounds. And I could not get that thing to group at all. At all.
At what distance?
Any distance, didn't matter. 25, like I said, 25 yards. We have some steel hangers out at 220 yards, and I would aim at one, and I would hit three or so feet to either side. It was just all over the place. So I cussed Paul in my head a little bit about cleaning my barrel.
Big time. Yep.
Said I'll never do that again. I kind of looked through the barrel, and I could see towards the muzzle end, probably 6 to 8 inches down. It just seemed like the rifling was pretty wore. So looking through the chamber end, I could see pretty defined rifling. And so I asked Paul what signs he has seen on a wore out barrel. I asked multiple people. I couldn't find anyone who actually has shot out a barrel and could tell me what kind of signs they have seen. Well, besides Paul. And I got so upset with myself, I just went ahead and ordered a whole nother barrel. And I took that one aside. I thought maybe while I'm waiting for my new barrel to show up, I'll clean it again, see if maybe I didn't get all the copper out of it or something. I cleaned it again, put it on built a whole nother upper for it, put a different scope on it, went back out to the range, and it was the same deal. It was just all over the place. So thanks, Paul.
You're welcome.
I had to order another $600 barrel.
At least
Finally.
they're only $600 chambered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on the list too, though. I see Aero Precision has a pretty nice stainless. It's a really aggressive fluting they do on one of their barrels, on one of their lines. So I'm on the list to get one of those too when they come back in stock, and I'll probably switch out the upper I have this wore out barrel on and build a secondary upper setup for myself.
You didn't look at black hole rifling, huh?
I did. That's when I was texting you because it was kind of complicated to look through their site. And
I know they're owned by Columbia Arms as far as the actual manufacturer of it, but Black Hole is their kind of their retail space
Yeah.
that they have for it.
I could find other companies' websites selling their barrels, but nothing I was interested in. And when I went to their actual website, it was such a cluster. I just got discouraged at what I was looking at, so I just didn't care to look at it. I mean, if they had a better website where you could actually look and see what you're wanting, it would have been different. But whoever is in charge of their website,
Sucks.
it's horrible. Yeah, it's really bad. You don't even know what you're looking at.
Well, you do if you know what you're looking at in barrels, but I mean, between the contours and everything else, you can go a little nuts going through their contours and everything.
Oh, but while I'm thinking of, let me grab. This is one more thing I did, and I thought it was pretty interesting. I told you guys, but let me grab this and have you see what I'm talking about. Okay, so I've told you guys before I've been buying die sets and stuff for calibers I don't even own. So I don't even own this caliber, but one of my friends does. So we were going to do some work and doing some loading for him. So I picked up 6.5 Creedmoor dies, and they've been on my shelf for a couple weeks, and I finally cut they come with the cellophane wrapper or whatever, and I cut that off, pulled the dies out, put them, started getting all set up, and I look, and it says it's 6.5 Creedmoor. It is actually 300. If it'll focus, 300 blackout dies is what was actually in there.
What?
And I thought, well, I'm pretty ambitious, but I don't think I will get these 300 blackout dies to size my 6.5 Creedmoor brass correctly. And it's both. It's the sizing. So what happened, I'm guessing, is Friday at Hornady, Steve Hornady's ready to go to the bars, slaps the wrong sticker. It's probably after Steve Hornady wrote that letter.
Note, yeah.
He wrote that letter to all of his employees about the upcoming mandate, and he was in a hurry to get out of the office, and he slapped the wrong sticker on a 300 blackout die set, and I happened to be the unlucky one who grabbed it. I did contact Hornady. I didn't take this back to the store, but I contacted Hornady, and they are sending me out a replacement set. So
you have to send that one back.
They didn't say nothing.
Okay.
Just imagine the person that bought the 300 blackout dies.
Yeah. So that's the first time I've ever had the wrong dies come in.
Yeah.
What I've purchased.
I think anything that was purchased in 2020 and after, you guys better open it up as soon as you get it.
Yeah. And I gotta say, Paul Loud is correct. It wasn't Hornady's fault. Everyone who read that letter just read it incorrectly. They did send out another letter saying how wrong everyone is who read it. That's not what they meant in the original letter. So thank God they came out with that secondary letter to clarify what.
Then they came out with the third one and said that yes, they are going to be letting people go.
Oh, I actually haven't seen the third one, Paul.
Oh, okay.
When did that come out? Yesterday or today?
Yesterday. It's and it's, what are we going to do? Either they got a choice. Either they can support the shooters or they can take the easy government money.
Well, Mike, you know what we're talking about, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like elaborating and letting people know what we're discussing, or?
He's got to get behind the curtain yet. Wait.
Sorry. Basically, it has to do with our lovely commander in chief, shall we say, or president Joe Biden, good old Uncle Joe, and his lovely vaccine mandate. Because what he's done is he's figured out how to kind of enforce it. He has figured out that he can have OSHA enforce his little whole vaccine requirement. Basically, what it is the schmuck said that any company that's got 100 employees or more has to either vaccinate everybody. Everybody has to be vaccinated or get tested weekly, or everybody's going to get fined. And so I believe this mess is out of that whole mess.
It
Mhm.
is, but nothing had gone through when Steve Hornady released that letter. It was nothing had been settled on.
Well, Geisley has had the same situation happen to them, and they had a meeting outside in their parking lot, and they discussed it. And he's not saying that they're going to fire anybody, but then again, they're not saying that they won't. And so you got Geisley, you got Hornady. And all this is because of a mandate by a president, or excuse me, king.
Yeah. What people fail to realize, and we normally don't get political, the 536 idiots in Washington no longer are elected officials. They consider themselves a ruling class. And if you don't think so, you obviously haven't been paying attention to all the exemptions that they and their best friends have gotten through this whole entire bullshit COVID crap. Now, COVID is real. People actually have died from complications of COVID. However, COVID's not honestly any different than influenza as far as that goes. It's just that they stopped tracking everything else for the last year and a half, and everything else was involved with COVID, because if they had COVID, that's what they died of, because the government was giving out money. That's my personal opinion. However, there's a shit ton of evidence out there to prove it. So,
Listen, you guys are just all wrong. It's just we're lucky we don't have mean tweets anymore. You should
Right?
all be thankful. And I really like Jim's comment. That just reminded me. I bought a shirt, Let's Go Brandon t-shirt, and then I got told, and a hoodie. I bought a hoodie, and I bought my dad a shirt too. And then
Good
I
man.
found out today I am not allowed to wear that at work anymore.
I'm shocked.
They sent out a letter saying we are no longer allowed to wear Let's Go Brandon shirts at work.
They literally mentioned that phrase.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you ran into when you took the job.
Yep.
Political correctness.
Yep.
So I'm sorry for you, Travis.
That does suck. Did you, what was it, last weekend at Giant Stadium? There was a rousing cheer of Biden. It was so loud that they actually picked it up on the TV, and they had to go to commercial while they tried to get him to stop.
Did
So-
that happen also in Talladega?
Yeah.
That's where
it
this all
seems like
started. Was at Talladega.
I
Yeah.
mean, well, you kind of expect it at Talladega. Seriously.
But yeah,
Good
Giant
people.
Stadium in New York. Who would
Yeah,
ever
you
have
don't.
thought?
You don't kind of expect that at Giant Stadium, because most of the people that go to Giants games aren't your average blue collar workers.
Or the lefties, yeah, I know.
So
They're the only ones who can afford the tickets.
yeah. Yeah. The problem is there are people that have come out and tried to just say COVID's not, absolute bullshit, which the way that they're dealing with it is bullshit. But COVID-19 is real, and frankly, I think COVID-19's been around for a long while. It is interesting to find out that there's not much media coverage when Fauci finally got actually outed on all of the stuff that he was doing for testing. I think he needs to be dragged behind a bus just for the testing he did on the live beagle puppies. But that's my personal opinion. But yeah, they've tracked the money back to Wuhan from Obama's administration on testing. And yeah, lo and behold, oops. Yeah, that story was true. So anyway, enough about that. We're talking about ballistics gel and other fun stuff.
You mean different ways of testing your bullets when they land?
Right.
Good.
Okay.
So is this like the Jello that you go and buy at the store in little cups? Sharonda?
No, and I hope not, because if it's cherry, it might get ate. Them out on.
Right. Okay.
I have a couple links for the show notes, Mike. I don't even have the show notes available.
I haven't created the show notes yet.
Okay, but anyway, I got some links. Like, for example, Ballistics Gel 5 easy steps on
Yeah.
What the hell site is this? Instructables Workshop. Fairly reputable.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of times I
my
tried
goodness,
making
Daniel
some
Anderson.
myself. It was very, very cloudy. So if anybody has some type of recipe where it's a little bit more clear than yellow or cloudy, I would greatly appreciate it.
Matt from Geeks, Gadgets, and Guns and I have talked about this ad nauseum. And he's tried different options, and he still has not able to make anything with that comes out as clear. So he basically just orders his off Amazon, which, I mean, it's not that bad, but it's, it's a one-time deal. But what we're talking about, for those of you who are wondering, is
They're swampy.
this. So this is from Matt from Geeks, Gadgets, Guns. He has a YouTube channel called LFD Research.
I've got this test I've been doing that I want to do for my sick pleasure. I've got 124 grain full metal jacket and a hollow point, and this is just a hollow point that you use for doing stuff. I've done a red line load on all of these. We're going to put 4 into gel. So we're going to do 124 full metal jacket, 124 hollow point, 147 full metal jacket, 147 hollow point.
Trended that gel he's got is as good as it's going to get. Boy, look at that thing bounce around.
Yep.
It would seem that the only thing you're going to get is either penetration or expansion. He sure got some penetration.
So I just wanted to kind of show that for Surrender, your chips are noisy.
Oh, sorry, it's cheese.
Oh, well, your cheese is noisy. Especially if you're not sharing. So, tag nabbit. So you can make it. You can also buy it like that. The ones that I've seen made are not that clear. Excuse me.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Is there a way to reuse the gelatin once it's been shot?
Not really.
Melt it down and do it, make it a do-over.
Yes.
Supposedly, but with the commercial stuff, not really.
That's what I meant, the commercial stuff.
Some of it's meltable.
Tell us more, Paul.
There's a couple of them that you can if you have a large enough pot, you can boil down and then remold. It just has to get, hot enough and then cool again. But and then you got to filter all the junk out of it. Gelatin is gelatin. It melts and it'll harden again. And you have to bring it up, bring it from a cold temperature up to a warm temperature to shoot it. But double boiler works every time. But it's a pain in the ass to strain and get rid of the little bits of lead and everything else in it, and just go ahead and shoot it, clean it out the best you can, and go from there. There's a couple of places that sell gelatin that you have to mix in a stronger suspension to get it to harden up in the your refrigerator while but you can't make it just like regular Jello. It has it's clear gelatin, and you have to like quadruple the recipe for it to make it. But I think I like the old way better, where we used to use telephone books and newspaper.
Yeah, so to give you an idea, the clear ballistics 10% ballistics gel, which is the FBI standard. So this is actually the same composition as the FBI uses for their testing. Is $150 from Amazon. It's 17.2 pounds. And it says it's reusable. So, like Paul was saying, the problem is straining it. But then they've also got down here, they've got, products related to this item. Well, you've got your Knox gelatin here, your Geffen gelatin here. You can't use those to make the shooting gelatin. Not straight anyway. It does work, but that's part of the base is like a regular gelatin mix, but it's not just that. So.
You mean edible Jello will not work? You just said that.
Yes.
So, Sharenda, you go ahead and have all the cherry Jello you want.
Pamela Earp said use a jelly bag to strain it. That might work. Cheesecloths might work.
It should. For home testing, stuff like that, what you really, the difficult part would be getting the powder out. The burnt powder from the handgun rounds. You shoot it at 10 feet, you're going to get powder driven into it.
Chris Sharp said at Reloading Podcast it's $86 on their website, but I'm not sure whose website. So, Chris, you want to clarify that for me? So, Paul, where are you getting that stuff from that you just said in the chat?
That's the gelatin that you can get from it's a medical gelatin that they use to do testing with in labs. So that's the closest thing you can get to your ballistic gel. It is a synthetic
I didn't
gelatin.
even think about that. Thanks for that one, Paul.
Ooh, Clear Ballistics, which is the company that made the block that I just showed you from Amazon, has a fall giveaway. They're giving away a SIG P365 and much more. So there's a fun reason to go over. Clearballistics.com.
I'm giving away gelatin.
Looks like it. Oh, they want to chat with me. Yay. So as far as the medical stuff goes, come on, computer, quit being so dang slow. So, ooh, that'd be fun. They make arm trainers and leg trainers for wound management and tourniquets.
Mm-hmm.
Medical gels. Oh, that's not the. That's liquid. I don't want liquid gel. That's not going to be any good. Anyway,
here's one that I got from Wikipedia, and who knows, I'm not going to say anything, but ballistic gelatin is traditionally a solution of gelatin powder and water. Okay, so that's what they are saying, and used for, testing terminal performance in firearms ammunition.
mm-hmm.
Now then, like I said before, I always tested with telephone books. Then later, when those became harder to get, newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
Newspaper, if you soak it a long time, and I mean, put it in a large tub and fill the tub with water and let it sit, and then put it in a rack. We usually used to use plywood and make a rack where you'd stuff it in from the top. It would still give you the hydrostatic hole that you would look at, but it wasn't a temporary cavity. It was a permanent cavity that you would see.
Mm-hmm.
So you would not see it coming back together, but you would see the an actual hole like that. And usually when it goes back together, it from a hydrostatic standpoint, it's just garbage falling in. That's the the real lung tissue and other tissue that's falling apart and just it'll just fall back in on itself.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to remember that air is compressible and liquids aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all that, as you compress the air in there, it's going to cause more damage, and the liquids that are in there that aren't compressible are gonna make that damage even more how do you put it? More deadly.
Yeah.
So the thing that I found was that with testing with newspaper, you don't see that with a handgun round. You don't see that big hole, that temporary cavity that you may see with ballistic gel. You're going to get a smaller hole because it isn't moving that fast.
Mm-hmm.
If you're under 1,000 feet per second or 1,200 feet per second, you ain't getting a big hole, guys. I mean, you're not getting that big expansion. You're getting the bullet expansion and what it's going to move ahead of it, but you're not going to see that big temporary cavity because that big temporary cavity might not happen. And we have lots of people that have been shot with lots of bullets that don't react to the bullet the same way it reacts in ballistic gel.
Mm-hmm. So, if you kind of want to see a whole bunch of testing of handgun bullets in ballistic gel, you can go to Lucky Gunner, and back in 2015, they went through everything that was out on the market at the time and shot it all into ballistics gel to show you, the consumer, how everything performs. So, ballistics gel is kind of standard. Other things that people use or have used in the past. Any of you who've watched Forgotten Weapons, they used pig cadavers, used beef cadavers. They've used beef cadavers and pig cadavers on.
Military used a lot of it.
Yeah, I was thinking another show, Jamie and Adam Mythbusters. They've used those for replacements there too. Some people, when they make their own ballistics gel, will actually get. They make. Usually, it's a synthetic material, but they make bone simulations, so you can actually like put a rib cage in your gel and simulate a rib cage. So,
Paul Harrell uses leather, pork ribs,
Mhm.
and the oranges to simulate the lungs. So, and then another layer of ribs on the back, and
Mhm.
like the FBI does. They throw denim on the front and the back.
Yep.
3 or 4 layers of denim,
Mhm.
and then go from there. Some people throw a leather coat over it. Wintertime is a big deal to just shooting it into ballistic gel tells you nothing. You got nothing there to
The only
compare. Yeah, go ahead.
The only thing it tells you is penetration distance, which the FBI has done lots of testing on versus a gelatin block versus a human cadaver would be type thing, to simulate, and that's why your ballistic blocks are so long, is because when they designed this test, they designed it knowing in advance that a ballistic gel is not going to be the same type of material as actually going through a human body, especially through like a chest cavity. So,
Anybody watch Grand Thumb on YouTube? Okay, what he's got chest, upper torsos that are have lungs and ribs and everything else in them.
Yeah,
So
he's got. If you watch his videos, he's got very realistic. There's a company, I can't remember what it is, but it's on. If you go to his channel, he's got a link, so you can go purchase those. But like Paul said, he's got some torsos that have the actual rib cages, the spinal cord, like all the bones, every structure in the human torso, and then they also sell human heads that have all the bone structures. They actually have a brain. They have every single thing that they're probably the most realistic, lifelike piece of ballistics gel I don't even know what you would call that. What would you call it, Paul? Because it's not ballistic gel. It's
a humanoid torso. It's basically it's just a torso that's basically constructed like we are. So you're close to the what a human is. And if you want, and you don't, they never show it on any of the YouTube, but they don't, throw some shirts on them, throw some denim on them, throw a leather coat on them. Let's see what actually happens. There used to be who's the guy that was married to one of the Shriver kids out in California. He was ex-military, a Marine. He used to put on YouTube showing what happened in a shootout to X-rays, showing how many bullets people have taken. I had a book that I got from one of my friends that was a police officer, showing a perp that was shot 33 times before he stopped. And we're discussing what happens, and in these situations, these guys, they take a lot of bullets depending upon what they're amped up on or whatever, until something shuts down the system. Okay, and usually that's either a brain T-shot or you have it takes a heart out. Okay, that shuts the system down. Those are things that shut it down. You get Cooper used to teach us that when you come up to draw on a person, don't forget to shoot them in the groin. Okay, lots of blood vessels in there. You shoot him somewhere in there, he's going to bleed out pretty damn quick. It's start low, work your way up. What can I tell you? But don't believe everything you see in gelatin until you've seen what it does with, if you're up north and the guys are wearing coats and heavy sweaters and jackets and leather and all these things, because some of those bullets that we use, they ain't going to open up. They're going to get all clogged up with fabrics and leather and everything else, and they just drive in and you got a round nose. Okay. Only thing that I know that opens up well is a rifle bullet.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think people tend to it's out of sight, out of mind, and I don't think a lot of us really think about that.
So it's ballisticdummylab.com is where Grand Thumb's getting his from. And they've got ballistic dummies with heads and everything. And they've got a head sale right now for $139. So Michael Dunn wants to know what's with the percentage with the gel, 10%, 20%. It's how much of the gel is synthetic versus natural. So Daniel Anderson wants to know how many shots. That kind of depends on what you're shooting into it. And the block is not compromised after the first shot. You'll see a lot of, if you watch a lot of ballistic gel testing, you're going to see a lot of multi-shot. Usually it's like a 5-shot group, especially when they're testing for penetration. But yeah, they've got all sorts of stuff available.
nobody ever wants to shoot anybody a bit nuts, okay?
Nope.
But sometimes it just needs to be done.
So. Yeah, so they've got ballistic dummies, ballistic blocks. So, but they say it's a 5 to 6 week. And in the blocks, they've got just your plain blocks, and then they've also got blocks that come with different items included, like a gel organ block, a gel bone block, all sorts of fun stuff. So yeah, I'll put a note for that. I'll put a link for that in the show notes too. So what else can we use? We've got
Like I
ballistic
said-
gel. You've got
I said
newspaper, and yeah, you got newspaper. Or what about magazines? Or won't it soak up enough water to do it?
They have a problem holding water. They don't like to do that.
What if you keep them in water, or does water adversely affect?
No, it's just they don't. If it doesn't hold the water, newsprint and phone books were good because there was no slickness to it. They had no they weren't color as far as and the paper was not treated,
Mm-hmm.
so it absorbed water easily. The old, what about Taylor's way he used to test it was 3/4 inch pieces of plywood.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor would stack plywood up and see how many places, how many it went through. Especially with mostly with rifle rounds, and he was big on testing penetration and killing power and knockdown power.
So, Michael Dunn said a water tank. No, actually, if you're trying to recover your bullet intact, possibly. But as Mythbusters showed, if you hit the water right, the bullet will come apart because they blew a 50 BMG bullet into small little metallic confetti when they were shooting into the pool. So. Water does weird things to bullets that don't make logical sense. So like all these movies that you see where the hero dives under the water and the baddies are shooting and you're seeing these bullet zips going 10, 15, 20, 25 feet down in the water. Baloney. So, Mythbusters has done a couple of episodes on it to show. So, I think somebody else. I think Hollywood Weapons did an episode involving water too. So,
water's not compressible.
Nope,
it's liquid. So the bullet is not going to do what it does in the air or in a body. Even though you are what are we 86% water,
something like that.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, bullet placement is what counts. Does that mean everybody should run out and get a 22 and use that? No. But use what you got. So
yeah.
So, what else can we use to shoot into?
1 gallon water jugs lined up in a row. If you can get it to perform right, you can capture the bullet. But you're going to do it. You have to have 7 or 8 of them in perfect alignment.
Yep.
And hopefully you can hit it and control your flight of the path, your bullet path, so that you land up in the last one of the last containers. I've done it. It takes a lot of work, and you do also have a lot of misses. You got to use 1 gallon milk jugs.
So I bet nuts know that's not what we're talking about. Agatha Christie's ice bullet was actually a projectile made of ice. Theoretically, it's possible, but it's not very plausible because it would start melting immediately unless you could figure out a way to keep it super chilled. And then it's going to be too small to go to, but it would shatter when it hits the rifling anyway, because you don't have a large enough surface to absorb that shock without it cracking. So, but yeah, that's been talked about for many mysteries, is how do you kill somebody and the only thing they found was in the wound channel was water. Well, no, that doesn't work. Ice bullets won't hold together. But Chris Sharp does have a fantastic idea. If somebody's underwater, don't use bullets, use depth charges. Much more effective.
Yeah.
Hand grenades. Hand grenades work.
That's true.
Mike, did you mention Jason and mine sand bucket while I was gone?
No, I did not, because that's yours, so you get to mention it.
Well, what Jason and Trumbo and I did several years ago was we took a 5-gallon bucket, filled it with ordinary sand. Now, I will confess that I didn't recover any of the bullets out of the sand, but it captured every bullet that I put into it properly. Yeah, I had a few misses. I had a few skip outs when I hit the shoot a little too high, too far left or right. But as long as you're on center, you do your part, it'll capture every bullet. So the 5-gallon bucket is about 12 inches diameter, about 18 inches deep. And the United States Army proved years ago that 18 inches of sand will stop a 50 BMG round. That's documented information, and it's like if the Army says it's so, well, it doesn't have to be so, but that's good enough for me. At least for testing my cast bullets and shooting for accuracy, and you can even use it for practice. And eventually, you just simply open the bucket up, recover your bullets, and cast them up, do it all over again. Good way to recycle bullets.
What about using different types of sand?
We didn't go that far.
That's what I'd kind of be interested in is like if you used a silica sand in there.
Wet sand.
Yeah.
Wet sand would be actually more effective.
Not like a regular playground sand, because regular playground sand has some pretty large particles in it. But maybe like a finer.
Yeah, you got to keep the cats out of the play sand.
No, not those type particles.
Well, sand is primarily made of quartz. Silica.
There's different grades of sand, and
I agree. Different grades, but you're talking about the size of the granules.
Right.
Primarily, sand is made from silica.
Okay.
Even the sand in the glass bottle or in the glass in your china closet, it's got, when you break it down, it's made from silica. Chris Sharp, he's not going to trust the sandbag made by the lowest bidder. He never will, and I don't blame him.
No, I wouldn't either.
I turned off my camera. Paul turned off his camera, and he showed up with my picture.
Yeah, that's because you keep changing your picture to everybody.
Anyway.
No, I mean, I'm talking about like there's mason sand, okay, which is
it's a finer sand, sure.
A fine sand that's really, when you look at it, it's kind of an angular sand. In other words, it's got a lot of square corners on it and that kind of stuff. So it locks in with the mortar that you mix in with it. And then there's torpedo sand that we have that is used for when they fill in a street and they have to because it compresses quickly. They use, and it's got larger particles. In other words, when it goes through the screen, it doesn't go through the screen. The screening process is all the way down. They just run it through to a certain part. So I have books on it, and IDOT books.
We've got a comment from a gentleman by the name of Zeke, and he looks like he's done a bit more extensive tests than Jason and I did. But he says the 5-gallon bucket works good for pistol handgun rounds. But rifle bullets tend to disintegrate, and they seem to start climbing out after several rounds. Jason Trumbo fired a few rounds of his 444 Marlin into his sand bucket. And I don't know if it started climbing out or not, but Zeke, what I'm thinking is you've got yourself a worn path, a path of an excavation, and the bolts are the excavator, and so on and so forth. You roll that barrel around a few times and remake or close up the path. I'm sure it would might work better. I don't know. I confess I didn't go that far in my testing.
Well,
basically, I just wanted a portable target. That's what I wanted.
Well, I think what he's getting at is that a 5-gallon bucket being 12 inches wide is only 12 inches wide at the center.
Right.
It's 18 inches tall.
Right.
Unless you're shooting straight down into it, then you could get your 18 inches. So you put a cover over it. But bullets have a tendency to kind of wander when they hit things.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
When the Army says we hide behind 18 inches of a sandbag, we sit down and say, okay, so we double that. And if they say we're supposed to have 2 high, we make it 6 or 8 high. And and then we don't look over at our head so we don't get the canoe effect.
Spudman, perhaps she could market this.
Somebody put in the chat, my ex-wife made a meatloaf that could stop bullets.
Yep. Yeah, so what Zeke's saying is they created a trough after the first few shots. So basically they just created a cavity and then they stopping bullets. So I went to just see how many types of sand there are, and there isn't really a definition because there isn't really a definition of sand. So I mean, there's all sorts of different stuff that they make sand out of, or that sand is made out of. So I mean, you've got volcanic sand, glass sand, coral sand, quartz sand, basalt sand, limestone sand. You know, I mean, there's all sorts of different stuff. So, but basically, it's a matter of finding, a sand that's going to work. I'd be interested to see if different types of sand allow you to either recover the bullet being intact or not. It'd be interesting to find out. So the problem with some of those is some of those sands you don't want to breathe in. Like most of your media blasting sands, you don't want to breathe in. So
glass.
Yeah.
Silica is bad.
Yeah.
Silicosis, it's called.
Yeah. So they were talking about in the chat. There was one guy that he built a backstop on concrete, and then used hay bales. And when he was done, he just burned the hay bales and recovered the bullets. He was using those big round hay bales. If it's swamp hay and it's your personal hay, I could see that. However, I'm not gonna say it's a good idea to go buy those big round bales to do that with, because that's pretty expensive right now. So John's hand loading just said kids play sand. James Pollard uses rubber mulch in a 5-gallon bucket. I think he doubles the bullet. So what he's talking about is what they've started doing is taking tires and shredding them, old tires, and they shred them. They rip the belts out, and then they shred them, and they use it for like a playground surface, or they use it for mulch and stuff. And that's what he's talking about. They use in that, getting that rubber mulch, because that'd be pretty dense. I'm thinking trying to pack that into a bucket would be interesting. So John said he doubles the bucket, so he's got 2 5-gallon buckets there. So and then he collects the lead. So that's another option. Spudman said about 5 cement bags. Would that work? That would get expensive in a hurry. So
no aggregate in it would make it extremely fine.
Yeah,
wouldn't lose a lot of it very fast.
No, be very dusty. I've seen a couple people talk about railroad ties, or somebody said pine logs. I'm thinking wet pine logs, like fresh cut down trees, would work, but I don't know if dry would work very well, depending on how thick they were, I suppose. Idaho Rogers says wet sawdust from a mill might do it, packed tightly. That's a possibility. I mean, that's what some of those chipboards are. So I bet Nuts is talking about he used railroad ties, drilled through, and then rebar run through into the ground, backfill it with sand, gravel, and dirt, about 6 feet high, 10 feet wide, and 20 feet deep. So he says it also serves as a tank trap. Hey, double purpose.
The way things are going, we may be calling out the Wolverines.
Anyway, yeah, no kidding. But yeah, I've had a couple of shooting ranges I belong to that basically that's what they do, is they use railroad ties on the outside, rebar to hold it in place, and then they backfill it with dirt or sand. So no, Paul, 2-wheel drive Tacomas aren't very good for trying to use as a bullet trap. They're kind of thin. Bullets go through them. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of different stuff out there that people have tried homemade. It's just kind of fun to talk about. Something different to talk about. So Michael Dunn says he's got thick rubber mats at an angle to stop bullets. There's shooting ranges that do that. There's also shooting ranges that have basically like a steel like a steel spiral, essentially. So
Yeah,
basically,
sorry, go ahead.
no, you were going to talk about your experience in cleaning one of those out.
No, I was going to say, that's if I had to build one, that's the one I would build. And you can look online for drawings and stuff, but it's basically like a snail shell design. So when you shoot, it goes, and it everywhere is a basically kind of a round surface. So it hits, and the energy gets dissipated by it going around and around. And by the time it's done, you have it's good for us who cast, because you can collect all your projectiles this way. So you shoot into this trap, this bullet trap, Snell design trap, and at the bottom of it, it has like a plug, so you can remove this plug, and all of the projectiles that you've shot into it, you can reclaim all that stuff. They are a little harder to make, But that's a good. If I had to build some for myself, that's what I would build. A lot of ranges they have bigger ones that are just picture a steel back plate, usually AR 500, angled. So when you hit, and usually they have some kind of medium before it hits that plate. So they'll have like rubber belting or shredded tires, something like that. So when you shoot through your target, it'll go through whatever kind of hanger, like say belting or carpeting. So it goes through that, goes into the medium, say shredded tires or whatever, and that should protect anyone downrange from a ricochet. But then the angle of the steel plate, the projectile, if it makes it all the way through to the steel plate, gets deflected downward into the ground, where they usually have some other kind of medium like sand or something like that to collect the spent projectiles and take up the rest of that energy. And there's a couple people in the chat talking about the snail traps too, and the snail traps are pretty cool. So it's kind of hard to describe exactly, but I mean, I think you guys understand what a snail shell kind of looks like. Just picture that on its side and shooting into the snail shell.
It works on a spiral.
Exactly, that's a good way of describing it. Mike?
Mike, you're muted, buddy.
You know, that would have been an awesome thought if I wasn't muted. Anyway, so the best part is I made 2 comments and then I thought of the third one that's even better. So think about like when you make ham roll-ups and it just kind of rolls up on itself. And so you've got or a piece of paper, you know, like this. So you take a piece of paper and you start rolling it up. And so imagine the paper being steel with air gaps. So how it like that. So basically the space steel and it comes in. I'm directionally challenged. So like it comes in here on the bottom where you see this flap and then it spins around in there, bleeding off speed as it goes. And there's no flat surface, so there's nothing to actually stop it. It's kind of like just bouncing off a wall like a race car, kind of. Like a stock car, just bouncing off. And it just keeps bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and bouncing, bouncing, bleeding off speed. And then eventually it stops. So otherwise, some people use angled pipe or angled plates, steel plate into a large pipe, funnel it down into the pipe. A bit nuts. I hate to spoil this for you. But basically, how that trick works, the person firing a gun fires a blank, and the person that supposedly catches the bullet with his teeth already has it in his mouth and just goes and sticks it in his teeth. So it doesn't really happen. Even at like 300 feet per second, a lead slug would knock your teeth out. So anyway. So to answer that question, Daniel, that was the other thing I did. It was my boy's 21st birthday yesterday, so we all went and got a tat. So that was what we did yesterday.
Wife too?
No,
Oh.
she ain't getting no tat.
Well, you said we all.
That would be the boys and I. Usually if I utter the words we all, it does not include the wife. So, but I'll show everybody.
Please tell us it is not on your ass. We do not want to see that.
No, it's right here.
Okay.
My forearm. Right there. So,
Do they match?
yes, they're the exact same. See if the camera will focus. No, it won't. Okay.
At the bottom, is that your last name? I can't
Correct.
really see. Okay.
Yeah, there we go. So, Missing Moose Farms has it great. Like a French horn you shoot into. Yes. Exactly. I tried to remove myself from the oh, crikey. I was trying to remove myself from just the single page and I took myself out completely. Sweet. Anyway. So. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of Missing Moose. That's kind of the idea is the snail is like a French horn. So. Anyway. Oh my goodness. The chat's going nuts. Anyway.
Everybody's getting in the holiday mood. Come on.
Right. So
Okay. Did anybody see Hornady's new product demonstrations for this year?
no, I didn't watch that video that Nick sent us.
I didn't.
Okay.
Okay. I should take that off because I started to watch it, and then I posted it, and I finished watching it, and I'm very disappointed.
Yes.
I was like, wait, that's it?
A bullet and RFID safes. That's it.
Yeah, an all copper projectile and some safes.
Yeah. So
Great. So they made a California safe bullet and crap that people aren't going to buy.
Well, they can't come up with a whole bunch of products because they're not going to have very many employees.
I suppose that's true.
So one hunting bullet and one add-on to the line, their line of RFID chips, safes.
Yeah, which
So-
in my personal opinion are ridiculously overpriced to begin with.
Right. So what do we want from the manufacturers for Christmas this year? What new item?
I like your idea, Paul, that you asked earlier today. I don't remember what form it was. Remember what that was?
Yeah. That was on Discord.
Yep. So Paul asked for a powder dispenser. And did you know, was it a powder dispenser or just powder scale?
A scale dispenser /
Okay.
so
Yes,
it's
for-
both.
Scale dispenser under $500 that is accurate to the 100th, not the 10th. So a lot of people, I agree with Criff Sharp. I want primers. Not going to happen, but I'd want them. I know a lot of people that are looking at going muzzleloader hunting that aren't going to be able to go muzzleloader hunting because they can't find number 10 or 11 percussion caps or 209 primers.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty sure in about a week and a half, or in about 4 weeks here in Wisconsin, you can turn around and sell 100 209 primers for probably about $40.
Okay, but what else do we want? I mean, from these guys. I mean, Hodgdon's got the market just about sewn up on powder, right, guys? Something happens to Hodgdon, that's it.
That's actually a good point. I do want other powder manufacturers. With Hodgdon buying up the couple companies they just bought, it basically leaves like what, one other?
Two. We got Shooter's World, and we got with Lapua,
Vitavori.
Vitavori. They got Western. Western was Norma, and so
Well,
that's it.
They didn't get Alliant yet, did they?
No, but they're close. I mean,
Yeah.
so. But we're sitting there with, okay, we got 3 manufacturers out there, guys, other than Hodgdon.
Right.
I want some more powder companies to come in and give Hodgdon a run for their money.
Yeah.
Um,
Paul Loud said get ADI to start manufacturing in the U.S.
mm-hmm.
I want the truth, even if it's ugly.
The truth with what?
That's what I want the manufacturers to come out and say. Okay, so we're running this far behind, or we're running this far behind, or this is what we've got, and just honesty.
Yeah. I'm waiting for Franklin Armory to come out with their progressive press.
Yep.
Last year they said it was going to be fourth quarter 21. Now they're saying first quarter 22. Okay, you know what this is, right? That's Paul holding his breath, waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. And so I don't know if Frankfurt Arsenal is gonna really release that or not, and we'll find out. But they keep pushing it back.
Well, what makes you say that they wouldn't release it?
Why wouldn't you already? Well, they came out, and here's where they put their foot in their mouth, is because they came out and said it was going to be $1,000.
Yep.
Okay. And there isn't a progressive press, 10-station progressive press out there that's, not, $2,000 or more.
Right.
And if it means to me that they have to wait on releasing it to work out whatever kinks or potential issues to have, I would rather them do that than release a product and have it be crappy or need sent back in at some point.
But they have their demonstration, they've shown on YouTube and everything else that press works fine.
With and you've seen the same videos. That was number one.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there is only one out there right now, but like I say, I would rather them not release something and get it done right than too quickly release it to make a buck.
I mean, I'm sitting there saying I want, a press that does what it does at that kind of a cost.
Yeah,
I mean, let's say if I wanted to buy a 750, and by the time I added the case feeder to it, I'm at $1,000, right? Just with the case feeder and a good handle. And
I can't remember, what is it? Are they saying it's going to be like 12 now?
I heard it was still going to be $1,000. So even $1,200. I'll take $1,200 for a 10 station press.
Yeah, I know I'm on the list. As soon as I see it available, I'm ordering one. And if it's decent, I'm gonna order two. they very well could be sitting off the coast of China of California right now on some Chinese ships. Maybe that's why we're waiting for the release.
Yeah, good point.
Mm-hmm.
I think GGW reloading wins the comment war for tonight. Since we're wishing about how about 2017 prices on everything. So there we go. Anyway,
it's a wish, and we know that isn't going to happen, but I'm just sitting there saying these are some of the things that we as reloaders, can use. There's, a good scale. I mean, come on, they can make a good scale.
Yeah.
That's not $1,000. Okay.
Yep.
They can make, a good press, and not and not cost our firstborn and our left arm. You need the right one to pull the handle.
Yep.
Powder manufacturers. We need powder manufacturers. Okay.
Yep.
We're getting primer manufacturers. They are opening up more and more places, or breaking ground to do it. It's in the news. But then again, we come around and we get places like Hornady, which who knows where they get their primers from? I'd love to know. And who's selling it to them, and they're saying that, oh, we're going to let people go if they don't get the shot.
Yep.
So, that's what I'm looking for.
I like Michael Dunn's comment. Everything is rocket high prices and it sucks. Even those acro bins are crazy priced.
Yeah, there. So
GGW reloading. What about brass cases? Well, if you want to pay $1.20 of brass cases, you can get Lapua, you can get Peterson, you can get Alpha Brass without a problem. Not a problem. You can get it all. Okay, but you got to pay the buck and a quarter case.
Right. Yep.
If you're looking to find Winchester out there, or Remington, or Federal, or any of those, or Hornady, Starline, nope, they ain't out there. You ain't gonna buy it for that 45 cents or 50 cents a case.
Yeah.
Just not happening. I mean, I saw, what was that? Lapua had a sale on 9mm. That was like $300, $1,000 or something like that.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
So. But. Well, you might be able to find. Let's see. Can we find brass on primary arms? Let's check it out. Bullets. Oh, they have 9mm brass that's not in stock. So, but they got a whole bunch of other stuff that's on sale. And if you're looking to build an AR, they're a good place to go. If you're looking to get some optics, if you get a primary arms optic, use the code FRN, the coupon code FRN, and you get a free mount with it. So that's one of the cool things they got going on right now. They've got a build sale going on right now. So like I said, if you want to build an AR, they got stuff going on. So anyway. Ooh, Radical Firearms stripped uppers for $50. Ooh. Anyway.
Okay.
I need to get off there before I start spending money I don't have to spend. So, grateful.
Sharenda's over there rubbing her hands, saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to spend some money now." Come on.
She's trying to figure out how to pay for that shotgun yet. So.
That's why my hands are cold. I didn't turn my heat down, so it wouldn't kick on.
Yep.
Right. So, just thanks to all of our sponsors. I have not gotten the new patches from Patriot Patch Company yet because it's too early in the month. This was last month's. The Wolfman with a machete. And what is that, a Mach 10? I don't know.
I think it's a Tech 9.
Might be a Tech 9. It's a dirty gun.
Did you get the Stay Puft series?
No. I don't have don't have the ability to have extra spending money like that. So but check out patriotpatch.co. The 2 new ones that are coming out are going to be fun. November every year is 2 patches. You get one for Thanksgiving and one for Black Friday. So they're both pretty funny. You got to find out an email. But other than that, that's about all I got for this week. So on that note, thank your waiters and waitresses and tip your wait staff. Huge shout out to everybody that tunes in every week. Huge shout out to everybody that downloads and listens online. Huge shout out to all of our Patreons. Thank you very much for supporting us. And huge shout out to everybody that sends us comments and emails and everything else. Thanks, folks. Keep your brass shiny. Anybody?
Despite what my mama told me, Grandpa said, violence does solve problems.
Jump on the Mill Strip short bus.
Wow. My 2 cents, support the Second Amendment. Do what you got to do, but support the Second Amendment. Join a Pro 2A organization. That's the 800-pound gorilla in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Organize, stick together. Yeah, we lost you, Shrenda.
She dropped her
put
cheese.
herself out.
She dropped her cheese and gone. Did she even get her tagline out?
Nope.
Teach a lady to reload. She just might like it.
Oh, Mikey's now going. You're going to catch it from Shrenda for stealing her tagline.
Yeah, I'm saying it for her since she can't handle her cheese very well. If you're struggling, as we're approaching the holiday season, especially, remember there is help out there. 1-800-273-8255. Give them a call. That's what they're there for. So, if you're a veteran, there's lots of veteran organizations out there too. We're working on getting together a list of those too that we can put in the show notes and share out. So. So Sharenda amended her comment. It's teach a lady to reload. She will stop using up your stash. And Spudman said should it be 3 cents due to inflation? No, it's 1.50 cents due to inflation. So And on that note, good night.